Hi guys, it's April. Once again, we are in the same spot we always find ourselves in the middle of the month. Yeah, it seems to happen repeatedly, at least 12 times a year. So today, I want to bring you my mid-August wrap-up. It isn't going to be that substantial, mainly because I am a huge Olympic fanatic, and so most of my time when I'm not working or doing other things, I'm watching the Olympics and coloring. And if you want to check out my coloring, because that has become a new addiction, go to my Snapchat, because I am just pretty much spamming my Snapchat with all of my coloring awesomeness, because it is awesome, even if it's not, because I'm awesome. So enough with my weirdness, because I don't know where that's coming from, it's just falling out of my mouth. On to the books that I have read in the past 2 weeks. I've read a grand total of 5 books. I started out the month with Harry Potter and the Cursed Child by J.K. Rowling, John, Tiffany, and Jack Thorne. I can never get those in the right order or with the right surnames. This is the newest Harry Potter installment. It is written as a play after the final battle in book 7. I have a whole review video up on this one, so I'm not going to go into this here, especially if people don't want to hear spoilers and other things like that. I will link that up there and down there. I will note here though that originally in that review I stated I gave it like a 2.5, and on Goodreads I read it as a 3 because Harry Potter and nostalgia, and I couldn't bring myself to give it a 2 or a 1 or anything like that. But I have since been pondering and thinking on this book because it won't leave me alone. It's still 2.5, but I gave it that 2-star rating on Goodreads because it felt realer to me to give it a 2 rather than a 3 if I had to choose one or the other. That has since been bumped that direction. I will leave a link to this review in case you want to check that out and hear words from me. There's that. I then continued on in my Brandon Sanderson Mistborn Universe adventure and picked up Shadows of Self. This is the 5th book in that series that started out as a trilogy. This has continued on several centuries after the last of the Mistborn trilogy happened, in which we have now gone further in technology. There's some new power things, but the past is starting to affect what is going on here. There are some wonderful characters in this new series in that universe. Wayne and Wax are wonderful, wonderful characters. They give this a very Western type feel, even though it's not a Western. It's just the way they act and the way they interact with the world. It just reminds me of Clint Eastwood and those gunslinging adventures and things like that, and I absolutely adore it. I do. So I will be continuing on in this series. And I think there's one more out right now, and then I have to wait. I don't know how I'm gonna handle that, but it's gonna be a thing. I did finally make it all the way through a Gregory Maguire book. This is After Alice, which is a different perspective of Alice's adventure. It mainly centers around Ada, which is a friend of Alice, and Libby, who is Alice's sister, and what they're going through as Alice is going through her adventures. I will say that when we hit the Wonderland area, or the Underland area, whichever you want to call it, when we hit that part in the story, the Alice in Wonderland story arc, it does feel very much like the original, and I did enjoy that part. Some of it at the beginning of this story was I didn't care. I wanted it to move in some way, and then eventually we finally got into Wonderland and things were good. I think my problem with Gregory Maguire, with the Wicked series, was probably because I didn't really enjoy the original Wizard of Oz to begin with. Don't shoot me for that. So I couldn't really get into that series because I didn't like the original series. But here, I really do like the whimsical and weird nature of Alice in Wonderland, and that was brought in the second half of this book. So I did enjoy that aspect of this book. And then I did a buddy read with Shayla as Shay Geeks Out, and we read a fairy tale a day in this beautiful, beautiful Time Lord fairy tale book. It just made my little heart happy because I got my fairy tales and I got my doctor and I got all of my sci-fi geekeriness from that universe right in this book. I did enjoy it a lot, but you have to go into this book remembering that these are written like fairy tales, and fairy tales in them of themselves aren't very substantial. They're very simply written because of how fairy tales were passed down and how they came through the ages to tell their story. And so each of these stories has that original Grimm's and Andersen fairy tale kind of feel, but they're not anything weighty or something that you will get deep, profound meaning out of, because that's not the point. The little twist that they give each of these stories is very adorable, and the fact that you see multiple carnations of the Doctor interleaved between some of the stories is great as well. So if you like the Doctor and you like fairy tales, I say give this a try because it just makes me happy. And then finally, I finished the Southern Reach trilogy with Acceptance by Jeff Vandermeer. This is a sci-fi dystopic horror thriller thing. It's another one of those troopy books. I can't even really explain it. I tried to explain it in last month's wrap up. You can't really get a feel for it until you actually read it. I really loved the first book in this series. As subsequently as this trilogy has gone on, it kind of lost the spark that really drew me in to begin with. Especially in this last book, you have to deal with so many different perspectives and a narration style change between different perspectives. And it felt like we were trying to get too much accomplished throughout this story just so we could end it, even though the ending just meh. I did enjoy the journey. If you like thrillers and you like sci-fi and you like something that feels a little like The Outer Limits and that kind of storytelling, I recommend this series. It's probably right up your alley. So those are the 5 books that I have read so far this month. I am hoping to accomplish more in the next couple weeks. Probably going to do some more coloring because I'm cool like that and I'm following the trends. Coloring books, that the thing. Tell me what your favorite book so far this month has been, and if you are a weirdo like me and like to color in coloring books, tell me what your favorite coloring book is, because I want to check more out. Alright, you beautiful faces. Bye.